frequencies open. Welcome back to Trek Retrek here on Geek the F Out. I am Captain Johnny.
And I'm Ensign Kayla.
And we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 4 of Star Trek, the original series, Mirror, Mirror.
On the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Just no? Wow, okay. Just cutting... You're fine. You're fine. Just cutting... There's a child on my lap. That's who's making the noise. Say hi. I'm a child, and I'm growling at things. If you haven't watched this before,
yes,
Johnny has seen everything Star Trek. This is my first time watching this episode. I have seen some Trek. Can I talk? I have seen some Trek. I have seen the previous episodes before this, but that's it. It's my first time around. It's my first Trek, so we're going through it together. And
Trek.
Retrek.
Trek for Kayla, Retrek for me.
Wow, amazing.
It's right on the tin.
Right on the tip. And yeah, so summary?
Yes, TVGuide.com says a transporter malfunction sends Kirk, Scotty, Uhura, and McCoy to a parallel universe where assassination, fear, and treachery rule the Enterprise. And in parentheses, it says, and Spock has a beard. Like, is that important enough to put in the freaking summary?
It is. It's very important, don't you think? You would want a beard too, huh? Yeah. He does have a beard. So we start off with Kirk, Bones, Uhura, and Scotty talking to one of the Vulcan leaders, and he won't budge about mining dilithium crystals because he doesn't trust what they're going to do in the future. And then these big ion storms happen, and Kirk says they won't take them by force, and they beam up, but they don't quite beam up properly because of the storm. They beam into an alternate universe, parallel universe, whatever. And we instantly see them do a certain kind of salute, which I will not say that name because YouTube's weird about saying that name, but
the NOTSEE.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Spock has a beard, like you said.
And they keep calling it a beard. It's like goatee. Like,
it is a goatee.
But everybody refers to it as a beard. It's not a beard. I don't qualify that as a beard. That's a goatee. It's
kind of thicker than a beard, like thicker than a goatee. I don't know, but somewhere I don't know. And Kirk is in a gold vest, and Uhura is in a two-piece outfit because why?
I mean, because mirror universe, but also, damn, Nichelle Nichols is fit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she got some six-pack going on there.
Also, was she pregnant before this? Did she have a baby?
I don't know.
Okay. It made me think. Yeah. Anyways. And Alt Spock, as I call him, gets mad at the dude.
Emo Spock.
Alternate.
I know. It just made me think of emo too. Like...
Well, also because I watched Fringe and they said Alter Walter all the time. Okay. Yeah. So Alt Spock, which I guess also works to another level, like the alt-right.
No, yeah.
Gets mad at the dude. Yeah, at the dude for not dealing with the storm, and he takes his agonizer and shocks him with it, which interesting that you have to like use your own against you, or maybe just Spock didn't have one on him or something. It's just kind of a weird little throwaway bit, but I think obviously they did it to show how brutal these people are.
100%. It's that like it's over the top to establish it, which I was kind of thinking like I was thinking like this whole cold open with them doing the dilithium stuff is like inconsequential. I feel that way because I already know that the Federation is righteous and they're nonviolent and like they're peaceful, But if you've never watched an episode of Star Trek before, because remember, very episodic, especially in the 60s, you'd never know, like, if you sit down and watch
Sorry,
this and you haven't seen Star
farted.
Trek before, it establishes to the viewer that the Federation is a peaceful, like, organization and isn't gonna, like, because Kirk specifically says, because the guy says, you could take them by force, and Kirk says, but I won't. Think about that. Like, to establish that they are a peaceful people.
Yeah. I guess, looking back, it's definitely, or if you've watched these before, it seems a little unnecessary.
Yeah. But it's
you
not
have stinky farts, sir.
It's not for repeat viewers. It's for people who might
it works for me.
Have sat down and watched it, not watched any episodes before. Yeah.
Works for me. It is. I mean, I still feel like it's a bit redundant, but it works a little bit better.
Well,
I think.
when I'm talking about, like, someone sits down in the 60s to watch TV, and this is the first episode of Star Trek they ever see.
Oh, yeah.
They've never seen an episode of Star Trek before. This is the first one they watch.
Too, because they're all fairly standalone.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Yeah. To us, who's watched some and know, like, the Federation's tenets and, like, their outlook, we go, we don't need, like, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Kirk pretends they're feeling the effects of the beam up, and they all go to sickbay to discuss what the fuck is going on. And Bones says everything's different, but also similar. And that's when Kirk's like, we're in a parallel universe. And then they're like, wait, that means our counterparts are back on the Enterprise. So that's not good either. Which luckily they were fine, because Spock being Spock was like, okay, clearly something's going on here. So yeah, they're trying to figure out how to get back, and Scotty goes is gonna try to use his resources in engineering, and Uhura is gonna go get the communication logs, but she's a little hesitant, and Kirk's like, you'll be fine, I'll be there in a second. And so when she gets to the bridge, Sulu immediately goes over to her and hits on her. And I was just like, yeah. And he has a huge scar on his face, which I was trying to figure out what was going on with his face at first, because I thought it was like a half a mask that they put on, and they just put it on badly. I'm like, oh no, it's supposed to be a big scar, but the prosthetics are just so bad. so bad. And luckily Kirk then arrives on the bridge, and Uhura tells him that he's supposed to annihilate the Hawkins unless they comply. And so now he's like, fuck, now how do I get out of this too? And Scotty tries to go to engineering, but isn't let in because of security, which apparently Sulu is the head of. And then Spock comes on the bridge and is confused by Kirk's actions. And then he's talking about the Empire, but then Starfleet also exists. So I'm like, so is it an Empire, and like Starfleet works for the Empire? I was like, this is very Star Wars sounding. And I'm like, George Lucas, where do you get that Empire idea? This was 10 years before Star Wars. Just saying. Just saying. Nope. No answer. Okay.
I don't know for sure. I mean, there's definitely aspects of this that could have been inspiration, but there's also plenty of real world examples that were inspiration for the Empire, so it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah. Well, especially this episode, because the Empire, yeah.
I don't know if George has ever spoken much about Star Trek and any influence it may have had on Star Wars.
Probably because Star Wars just kind of blew it out of the water. Am I wrong? As much as we love Trek.
They're completely, it's apples and oranges at this time, because Star Wars is film and this is television. Like Star Trek, I don't think the motion picture wasn't until like 79 or like the late 70s, well after
Mm.
the first, a couple years
New
after the
Hope.
first, the first, actually the first Star Trek movie happened partially because of the popularity of Star Wars in cinemas. Not a
Mm.
word that we use in the U.S. much to describe movie theaters, but that's what they are. Um, so yeah, I don't know. They're very different mediums right now. At this time in
Yeah.
this late 60s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Totally. That makes sense. And anyways, so let's see. Kirk talks to the Hulkins and gives them 12 hours to comply, which of course makes people even more suspicious. And so when he leaves, well, first he tells Uhura to have Bones and Scotty meet him at his quarters. But Chekhov sees all of this and is very sus and hits these buttons and then takes Kirk down the elevator, which as soon as he walks off of, he gets knocked out, and a fight ensues. And Chekhov puts a phaser on him and says he'll kill him and he'll move up in rank. And yeah, and then let's see. But then one of the dudes that's there ends up helping Kirk so that Kirk can help him move up in rank. And then Kirk punches him after. It was just like so silly and just like, if this is how it works in this universe, then like no one would ever be alive. Like
Oh yeah, it's
everyone would
definitely
just
over
be
the top.
killing each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
chaos.
yeah, it's not something that you can do as a long term. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you start to examine it and try to think about the long term implications of it working that way,
Yeah,
it doesn't hold up.
exactly.
Um,
No, it doesn't. No. Um, so then Kirk talks with Bones and Scotty in the room, and Bones says it's a very barbaric society. But then he like, because Kirk has like blood on his chin, and Bones is like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's blood, you dingus." Like, what else would it be?
yeah, pretty
So
much.
weird. Which reminded me of your comment about Elle never wiping her nosebleeds, and
Yeah,
Kirk wipes his. So it's like, ha, he wipes his. Um, and Kirk asks the computer if the universe swap is possible after what happened, and if they could recreate it artificially, and it says yes. And so then Scotty says he can figure it out but needs help. So Bones helps him. Are you okay? um, and which Bones says, I'm a doctor, not an engineer, which I guess is a thing that he ends up saying a lot. Anyways, um, and Kirk gets background on Alt Kirk, and apparently he assassinated his predecessor, killed a bunch of people, did a lot of bad shit, and they're like, fuck, this isn't good. And they all go back to their posts, and we get a glimpse into the actual Enterprise universe, and Kirk is being detained with Bones, Scotty, and Uhura because Spock was not fooled at all by them. He figured it out
no,
very
yeah,
easily. And Alt Kirk is cray cray and tries to bargain with him, and Spock's like, nah, not gonna work. And then we have Alt Spock tells Kirk he's glad he didn't die because he doesn't want to be captain. He likes his position better. And then they see Chekhov getting tortured by the agony booth, as it is called, which,
mm-hmm.
yeah, does not look fun. And he
Doesn't
warns Kirk.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't tickle.
Yeah, no. And he warns Kirk that he may have to intervene if he keeps not acting correct. And then we have a quick scene of Scotty and Bones breaking into engineering, which all of their knee-high boots, which I think Kirk's go over his knee,
Mm-hmm.
are amazing. Just saying. They're great. And I think they have heels on them.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing. Um, and then Kirk goes to his room, and of course there's a lady there just laying in his bed because it's Kirk.
And it's
And
it's the mirror universe Kirk, so
mhm.
he's probably less. I guess I don't know, less inhibited,
He's even
less
more,
proper than Prime Kirk.
yeah, he's even more slutty probably. Which don't know how that's possible, but and they share a drink together, which I want a cabinet that you can just open up and there's drinks there. That's cool. um, and she wants to know what he's been up to, and they kiss, and I'm like, how? Like, I get that you're trying to pretend to be him, but it's like, I don't know. Okay. Just any
Yeah,
excuse to kiss someone. So we've checked that off of our is Kirk shirtless? Is he do a weird hug? Does he kiss someone? Or does he fight someone? Is that the other one?
yeah,
I really need to just like write this
shirtless
shirtless. I thought I said shirtless. No?
maybe.
I'm second guessing my
Shirtless,
life.
yeah, shirtless, hug, kiss, and fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we
Cool.
got 2 of the 4.
Yes. So she thinks he's trying to gain rank, and Alt Spock calls Kirk and tells him that he doesn't follow orders. He's been told he has to kill Kirk. If he doesn't follow orders, he's going to have to kill him. And Kirk and the girl, which ends up being Marlena, cheers to Spock, and she says, or she asks if Kirk is going to take out Spock too, and he's like, no, why would I take him out? And then she's like, oh, do you want to use the Tantalus field? And all of a sudden, like, clicks on this like screen thing that's in the room, like a literal screen, not like a computer screen. Um, and it moves up, and then there's a computer screen
Yeah.
behind it. And you get to monitor people and spy on them. And then there's a button that instantly kills them
Yeah,
somehow.
thanks for my note at this time was thanks for explaining it, mysterious lady. And then she's like, then she says, where's there room for Marlena? I'm like, oh, okay, so Marlena, thanks for explaining it, Marlena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly my next note. And she's like, how does Marlena fit into all this? He's like, where do you want to fit in? And then Kirk radios Scotty saying they have 3 hours left before Spock kills him. And Scotty's like, nah, we actually got 30 minutes. Like, that's our window to be able to do this.
Mhm.
And so they're like, okay, we'll meet in the transporter room. And so then Spock asks the computer what's going on in engineering and realizes that, Kirk and them are up to something. And so then he talks to Sulu, and they try to guess, what Kirk is doing. And Spock's like, well, if I disappeared, the Vulcans would avenge my death, essentially. And Sulu's like, oh, yeah, don't want to deal with them. And then Marlena walks out in this, like, butterfly kind of outfit.
It's quite the outfit.
Quite the outfit. It was great. Not complaining. And Kirk starts to leave, and Marlena says it's over, and she's like, I'm going to move out. Like, I need to be transferred. Get me out of here. I need to go hunt some fresh game somewhere else. And Kirk's like, you can be anything you want to be. And they kiss again. And then she kind of realizes it's not Kirk and kind of asks if she is his woman. He says yes. And then he finally leaves and she spies on him. And this whole scene between them two, I'm like, what the fuck was the point of this?
Yeah.
Like, he could have easily kind of just been like snooping around his room and like found the Tantalus field, but also like, I don't know. Like, obviously she helps them out later by killing those guys with Sulu, but I don't know. Anyways, let's see. Uhura distracts Sulu, and he's giving her a very, very tight hug, I will say. It's just like, how is that comfortable for
Yeah.
anyone? And then once the blinking lights happen, she slaps him, and he's like, oh, wait, what's going on here? And then, tries to go after her, and she whips out the knife. And I was like, yeah, badass Uhura, let go. That was literally my note. And then we have Alt Spock finds Kirk in transporter room. It says he's been acting too weird. And he's like, you got to go to sick bay. And then, of course, everyone's there in sick bay and they all fight, which they had this like interesting overhead view of the fight, which.
Yeah. But it was that double clearly was not Leonard Nimoy. Like the Spock double, it was,
I noticed
like, when
that
they switched to that overhead shot, it is obvious that it's not Nimoy.
It's not. You're fine. It's obviously not him. And let's see. They finally knock out Alt Spock and then decide to help him. Meanwhile, Marlena is still watching this entire thing unfold. And Sulu and the dudes come in and they threaten to kill Kirk, and he's like, I'm gonna make it look like Spock was involved, so then I move up. But then Marlena kills the other 3 dudes, so it's just Sulu versus Kirk fighting. And it's funny because when he's holding the little sword, it looks like he's, like actually sword fighting again.
Yeah,
little
like
knife. Sorry, the knife.
Naked Time. Which, like, why didn't she just kill Sulu too at that point? Like, you've just obliterated three people,
plot armor,
with the touch of a button. Why not mirror Sulu?
Alt universe plot armor.
I guess.
And let's see. So then Alt Spock wakes up and asks Bones why Captain let him live, and he Vulcan mind melds him, which Bones doesn't say anything. Like, when he wakes up, he just stands there, and then Spock does it.
Yeah, and like, hey, like, just let him die for fuck's sake. Like, just why do you care? Like, just let
because they're good people.
I get,
and that's the whole point of this. Is to show that they're good people, and Marlena sees that they're good people, so that's why she helps them.
Yes, I understand. Plot-wise, that makes sense. But like in the actual situation,
yes,
you're putting yourself at risk by like just let the dude can die, and then Sulu and his goons come in and all that. And also, like, for Marlena to know about that Tantalus field, the Mirror Kirk must trust her implicitly.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And also, I feel like he should have said it so it only opens for him. Like, she may know where it is and know what it does and like has seen it, but like she shouldn't be able to access it. So clearly either he trusts her a lot or he's just stupid.
Yeah, because she obviously has access to his quarters when he's not there because she went in and that's where Prime Kirk goes and finds her.
His quarters.
Yeah. But for her to be able to not only know where it is and access it and use it, maybe he's got it set to something so that it can't be used on him. Maybe that's part of the technology, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
The like killing part.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to give anyone access to it.
Yeah,
because they would use it against you.
Yeah, so Kirk, Uhura, and Scotty arrive at the transporter, and Marlena's there and asks to join them. And then they're like, nah, so she threatens them with the phaser, and Uhura, once again, badass, disarms her. Love to see it. So glad she's being utilized more this season. And Spock brings Bones in. That is very hard to say. And fixes the energy and ends up helping them and says he'll send them back. And Kirk tries to like still help the Hulkins and say that this empire is illogical, and tries to convince him to spare the Hulkins. And he tells him about the Tantalus, which...
I get it. Like, I'm like, I literally wrote down, for fuck's sake, Kirk, just get on the damn transporter pad. Like,
yeah, that would frustrate me. That would frustrate me to no end. Like, get the fuck out of there.
You've got, like, literally Spock's, like, you've got, like, 2 minutes. Now is not the time for an ethical debate with someone from a different universe. Just get on the fucking pad. You're lucky that he wants his captain back and is willing to, like, not murder you. Because apparently, I don't know if I said, like, Spock's loyalty to Kirk appears to be universal, like, multiversal.
Cute. I love you in every universe. That's from the Multiverse
Seems
of
that way.
Madness.
Seems that way.
If anyone's wondering. Yeah, cute. Cute. So they finally are transported back to their ship in their actual reality. And so normal Spock said it was easy to notice them being uncivilized versus the other way around, which I think would be true. And Bones says he liked Spock with his beard. And he was like, almost any change would be a distinct improvement. It's like, y'all and your little beef. So funny. And then Kirk is like, I'm not sure, but I think we've been insulted. And Bones is like, I'm sure. We've been insulted. And then Marlena brings Kirk something to sign or do something on the bridge. And Kirk's kind of in shock seeing her. And so Spock asks
Scotty, I think Scotty Bones and Uhura were also on the bridge and kind of recognized too.
Yeah. They're like, what's she doing here? And so yeah, Spock asks Kirk if he knows her, and he's like, nah, but maybe we could be friends. And I was like, sure, Jan, friends. That's exactly what you want to be with her. And that's it. That's all I got for this episode. They did their cute little thing at the end as usual.
Yeah. So what do you think about the introduction of the mirror universe into?
Oh, this happens
TOS?
Again?
Not in this show. It's quite a while before we see the mirror universe again in Star Trek. Like,
the
not
same
till, like,
universe
Deep Space Nine.
or other universes?
Same one.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense because I have these figures.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they look funny. Yeah. So I was excited for that because I'm like, oh, okay, I get where they're from. But I thought it was maybe just this episode. So now it makes more sense why they did more figures because I'm like, this episode, spoiler alert, but like,
all right, interesting. We'll see what Ensign Kayla ranks it.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it was the worst, but like, I think I had higher expectations because I thought it was the only thing that it was based off of.
I mean, it technically is for like from the airing of this episode for like the next 30 plus years. It's not till like 1996 that they touch on the mirror universe again. So it's nearly 30 years before we see it. At least on screen. I'm sure it's between the airing of this episode and the episode of Deep Space Nine where they do the mirror universe. You know, there were probably books and comic books and other things that touched on the mirror universe. But as far as on screen, this is it.
Interesting. Yeah, but we'll talk more when we get to it.
All right, so that'll bring us to favorite lines and moments, because I didn't have a lot of notes about this episode because I'm very familiar. Like,
you've seen this before.
The only couple of things I wrote that I noticed this time that I probably didn't like touch on previously was the bridge chair looked much more like a throne because it had the high back.
I don't think I noticed that actually.
That's really it. Like there's not a lot more that I have written down as notable.
Notable.
So favorite lines and moments. You kind of touched on one some of mine already, like at the end of the episode when because Spock's talking about the mirror landing party. He's like, you know, they were barbaric, this, that, the very flower of humanity.
Yeah.
And that's when
so good.
Kirk's like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think we've been insulted. And McCoy says, I'm sure.
We've been insulted. Yeah.
Again,
I think
not
settled my lines. I'm just realizing. Oh well.
What's that?
There's only a couple. Yeah. I'm not seeing any others.
Yeah, again, it's one of the things where under memorable quotes, Memory Alpha, it just has I'm not sure, but I think we've been insulted, and I'm sure. Like, it does say Kirk and McCoy after
Um,
Spock compares them with their mirror
okay.
counterparts, but like
Okay.
include
Who
Spock's
says
lines in
what?
there.
Yeah. Yeah. What the heck? It's like they're half-assing it. You gotta whole ass it.
Yeah,
Always whole ass it.
Kirk very much has like White Knight syndrome in this, like trying to save the mirror universe from itself, like trying to convince Spock to make change because he says in
Mm-hmm.
every revolution there's one man with a vision. Just get on the fucking pad, Kirk.
Oh
Just
my
go
God, I
home.
know. He
Just
definitely
go home.
has like a savior complex to him where he thinks he's God. Which, I mean, the other one kind of had too, especially with the Tantalus machine
Mm-hmm.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely some funny moments throughout this one. And just like seeing this other universe, I think they did a pretty good job with it. Um, and like clearly they changed up people's looks to make it more obvious like who was who and like
Yeah.
different uniforms and then the whole world with the sword through it symbol
Yep.
everywhere. Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of overkill. I don't know, is that a reference to something and I'm just
No, that's just the logo of that Terran Empire.
oh okay.
Is the
Hmm.
sword through the planet, and then how
Okay.
the ship is the ISS Enterprise instead of USS Enterprise.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
when he's doing his when he's listening to his record, and it says that uh, he killed Pike to gain command of the ISS Enterprise.
um yeah, that's right, he did kill
Presumably,
Park.
ISS stands for Imperial Starship instead of United Starship.
Hmm. Imperial for the Empire.
Yeah,
Different letters, but you know, same.
but that's the thing. I mean, that's
I
how it
know.
works.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Um,
It's just funny because they're so close. I'm like, why don't you just make them the same? Oh well.
Imperial instead of Imperial. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would literally sound the
But
same.
then there's like empirical evidence, which is a completely different use of the
All
word.
right.
Anyway,
Tangent time. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I loved Ahura being a badass. That was great. And I mean, to do it in that outfit too, that's hard. Like that looks so uncomfortable. I felt so bad. Um, yeah. I mean, I just like the tops looked like even on Marlena too did not look comfortable. The pointy boobs of the time. So funny.
mm-hmm.
So funny. Um, yeah, there was definitely some good moments in this for sure. That's all I'm thinking of the on the top of my head.
Did
Any
you
others for
have
you?
any? Did you have any like flashbacks to the enemy within? That's the one where the
What was that?
transporter splits Kirk into good and evil.
A little bit, especially with like Alt Kirk being so angry and
Yeah.
so evil. For sure, a little bit. Like this is definitely similar. Why?
Um, it's just something I thought like there were every now and
Oh.
again I thought of like this just like an expansion on the
Mm-hmm.
concept of the enemy within
Mm-hmm.
where it's an entire other
Yeah.
universe and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Another one where it's like they use pretty much the same trope again in a
mhm.
different way. Yeah. So for this one is like a hard stop alternate universe, parallel universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yeah.
I if that's it for uh general episode thoughts and favorite lines, then that'll bring us to that's what they said.
Okay. So
And you went
you,
first last time, so
yeah,
I'll
so you
start
go
us
this time.
off. Uh,
Okay.
Trouble, sir.
Stroke 4, Mr. Sulu.
Scotty, can you do it?
Not by myself. I'll need help.
Captain, we can do it.
Oiling my traps, darling.
I'm afraid I'm a little out of practice.
All laid in, sir.
It'll only take a minute.
I feel what you feel.
One is coming.
Yay. That's what they said for. Oh, you're fine. Season 2, episode 4. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the cutest fluff of them all? You. You are so
I feel like this
fixated
is
on
one of those
whatever's
points
outside.
where during the chat in the premiere, you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, fucking stop!" to yourself because you're making voices and.
I'm okay with that voice. There's another voice
okay.
that I do that I really don't like. I am zombie. Hee hee hee.
All right, that will bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha. There's a lot, so buckle in, buckaroos.
Well, he's my buckle, so that works. I can't move.
During the filming of this episode, Barbara Luna had strep throat and 103-degree fever, so her kissing scenes with Shatner were postponed for 2 weeks.
Scenes, I'm sorry, 103?
Yeah, and she's acting during this.
Bye.
The scenes were shot on Friday, August 11th, 1967, during the production of The Deadly Years. Since Luna had lost a couple of pounds due to her illness, costume designer William Ware Thies had to come up with a new costume for her which hid the weight loss. As a clever improvisation, Thies put her in a bikini and covered it with a piece of colorful drapery. I don't like, who cares? I was wondering what the outfit was because I noticed like the shawl or poncho kind of thing that she had was see-through and there was something underneath and it looked shaped weird.
Just
I didn't know what it was.
Regular bra.
Yeah.
Like a scalp
well, but there
bra.
seemed like there was a solid piece that came up like over her stomach, like a midsection. But it was hard to tell. But it's just
Which is interesting that they're trying to hide her weight loss. I feel like a lot of times people are trying to hide the weight gain or like if someone's pregnant.
It just seems like something weird to be like worried about consistency of, like throughout the episode. I don't know.
And if it was a couple pounds, probably would not notice. If it was like 20 pounds, sure. But like a few pounds, you're not going to notice. Hate to break it to y'all. But if you've lost a few pounds, no one's going to notice.
This episode introduces the Mirror Universe, which returned in episodes of Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Discovery, as well as various novels, comics, and games. Clearly, I mean that much is obvious. This episode marks the first time in Star Trek history that Scotty addresses Kirk as Jim. It's also the only episode in which Uhura is seen in a moving turbo lift, which is a weird fact to realize, but all right.
Okay. Sure, Jan. Whatever you say.
It's the first episode since the Menagerie Part 2 to make any mention of Christopher Pike when Kirk and McCoy listen to the ship's computer in his quarters to get a better understanding. Blah, blah, blah. It's, it marks the final time Pike's name would be mentioned in the original series. The metal head sculpture in the mirror Spock's quarters, also in the room in a mock time, previously appeared in the possession of Dr. Adams in Dagger of the Mind and Marlena MacGyver's in Space Seed. This episode was nominated for a Hugo Award in 1968 as Best Dramatic Presentation. TV Guide ranked this as the third best Star Trek episode for their celebration of the franchise's 30th anniversary in 1996. And this episode is often spoofed or parodied in various other television programs. The aspect of evil counterparts from a parallel universe and the presence of goatees on such characters are particularly popular. So,
wait, that's so specific. That's hilarious.
Yeah. This seems to be the if it's not the origin of the evil duplicate universe trope, it's at least the popularization of it, like the most seen, because that the mirror, like the evil duplicate having the like mustache or goatee, it apparently comes from this. Like, this seems to be the, again, if not the earliest instance of it, at least the earliest popular use of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Fascinating.
that will bring us to spoilers without context.
Oh, perfect. I didn't realize that was the end. I'm like, oh fuck, I just said fascinating before the
No,
end. Perfect.
that was it. So we will bring Ensign Kayla's spoilers without context up on the screen.
Let me pull those up again because I already forgot what I did. Oh yeah, so I used Caesar because fucking Chekhov was talking about Caesar. Or no, not Chekhov. Marlena. Who was talking about Caesar?
No, it was Marlena.
Okay, it was Marlena. Yeah. And then I just searched goatee and Tony Stark. And then the black boots because of their black knee-high boots. Mm-hmm. And then I did wife swap because, you know, they pretty much just swap places in universes. And that's it. Pretty plain and simple.
Very good. Pretty straightforward, but like,
yep.
Yep.
So we'll bring. That's a good one to do.
What?
I'm looking at yours.
Oh, we will.
I almost did the Spider-Man one, and then I was like,
Yeah, we'll bring mine up on the screen. There is a Magic the Gathering card called Mirror Universe, so I had to use that. You swap life totals with your opponent. I had to use the Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, Kirk's the mirror, the Prime party and the mirror party didn't meet each other, but I still used it.
That's why I didn't. I was like, oh, it doesn't happen, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, I stretched it. I used the Palantir to represent the Tantalus field. Felt appropriate.
I'm pissed I didn't think of that. And it's so funny because, like, I was like, this reminds me of something. What does this remind me of?
It's not quite the same because nobody else can see, like, the person using the Tantalus field.
And also, it doesn't instantly kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but very similar vibes. No, that's a good one.
And then 1, 2, not 3, but 3 Marlenas because of Marlena in the Mirror Universe and then showing up in the Prime Universe. The song came to mind, so I used that. The cover for that single is
nice.
All right, so that will bring us to ranking the episode. Ensign Kayla, how do you rank Mirror Mirror?
I'm gonna rank it Commander.
Okay.
I know it's a big deal. Like, I have fucking action figures in these outfits. Like, I get it. But, like, I think it's just because we've seen this trope before. Like, when this premiered, like, that was a big deal. But I think now we've seen it so many times before, and we've seen similar things like you were just talking about with the enemy within. That I don't know, like, also how they figured out how to get back. They didn't really explain it very well, I thought. And then, like, the scene with Marlena, like, all the stuff with Marlena was kind of stupid. And I don't know. Like, there was good parts. Like, how they all kind of had to work together to get back, and, you know, there was a time crunch, and then they also had to figure out how to save the Hulkins. But then, like, Kirk also stops and tells Spock, like, be logical about or alternate Spock, like, be logical about it. And I'm like, dude, get on the transporter, you're not gonna get back in time. Like, there's kind of a lot of random stuff that, like, throws you off a bit with it. I don't know. Like, it was so close to being so good, and it just wasn't. Like, but watch it if you have time. Like, it's still entertaining. The outfits are great. The goatee is amazing. But I don't know. I feel like it just like didn't hit those expectations I had for it, and now I wish maybe I didn't have those expectations for it, and maybe that would have helped. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Don't hurt me. Not so. I don't. Yeah, I know you won't. People will just come for me in the comments and be like, "You're stupid.
Gotcha.
You should have left it." Ah.
Hey, people have different opinions. Like me, I'm going captain.
Okay.
I think it's, yeah. I mean, everything that you say is valid. Like your criticism of the episode is definitely valid. I think it's an iconic episode of Trek. I think it's a must. And for that reason, I think it's a must watch. So yeah, I'm gonna rank it captain because it shows up again later in other different series. Like I said,
Yeah, I didn't have that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I literally didn't know it would come up again. I thought this was it, and I was like, "This is it." Like this is so great. Everyone thinks it's so great. No, it's not so great.
Yeah, it's and the mirror universe in general has its detractors and critics because of things that you mentioned, that you talked about from just your first watch, like of how is everybody in this universe not dead because they're all trying to kill each other to move up.
Yeah, it just like I understand you only have one episode to give you an idea of this other universe, and I think they did a good job in some aspects, and then in aspects where you can just kill your superior and assume their position is wild to me, and definitely not thought through enough.
And I think they tried to show that that's not the only option, because like the guys who save Kirk, not everybody resorts to murdering someone. Kirk did it to Pike to gain the captaincy of the Enterprise. But there were obviously, they keep talking about how people had their men, and Kirk had his men that were loyal to him, and
he did
used that to be able to move up. But yeah, definitely when killing someone and taking their place is an option, it does make you wonder how anything gets done.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know. Like, yeah, there's definitely some good parts. And I think for me, the whole salute and like, obvious references it to a certain group of people that were pretty fucking horrible. We've seen that before, and it's like you don't have to do that to show that these people are horrible.
Right, it's low-hanging fruit. Like
it's low-hanging fruit,
kind of lazy.
Yeah, just a wee bit. But yeah, like I said, there's still a lot of good stuff about it. Yeah, I don't know, just kind of underwhelmed, I guess, is my overall feeling from it.
No, it's fair.
Yeah, but watch it. I still gave it Commander. That's still like second highest. So yeah, don't come for me. Okay.
All right, that'll bring us to our next episode, The Apple. IMDb.com says, primitive inhabitants of Gamma Trianguli 6 worship a god who orders them to kill visitors from the Enterprise.
Yeah, I watched this. It's a doozy. Just kind of like how this one was a doozy in terms of like, maybe let's not reference that group of people. This was like, maybe let's not use so much self-tanner on people and white saviorism. That's all I'll say. Let's get out of here. Let's geek the F out of here. Thanks everyone for joining us in the chat. Please don't murder me for my opinions. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Please make sure to leave a like, smack that like, sorry, smack that subscribe, smack the bell icon. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to follow us, you can follow us at GTFO channel on all the social medias. If you want to email us, our email is channelgtfo@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Yeah, have a good one. Peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.